and sinning. That's number 2. Are you saved? Do you know do you see the bishop with the thing? What do you call it? I forgot. I forgot the term for that thing. You know the bishop uses? It has this shape, inverted J. You know what that J is for, the inverted J? That's for pulling the sheep by the neck, for those who are going astray. Yeah. Because the bishop is the shepherd. The sheep is supposed to be the shepherd, and that's what it is for. That's why the shepherds, I know because I've seen them. I've seen the actual shepherds in the Holy Land. They have this thing, and they use it for those sheep who are just about to fall. Yeah, they use it to put it back in the fold. That's why the bishops carry it out. Fireworks in heaven. Jesus reveals what his driving, passionate interest is: the salvation of the individual soul. If you hang around with drug dealers and drug users and drug pushers, what do you think will happen to you? You'll be one of them. You'll become one of them. And the driving, passionate interest of God is simple: to save us, to save every soul. Friday. What is this I hear about you? Luke 16. Remember that servant? Prepare a full account of your stewardship. Remember that servant? After he got caught, he was squandering the master's property. And so what he did was he went to the individual creditors, debtors, individual debtors. How much do you owe my master? Cut it in half. Remember that? That's this story, Luke 16. Number 1, what is this I hear about you? God doesn't need to hear anything about us. He knows everything. Yet, he may say, what is this? As he looks over our lives and reminds us that we are accountable for all our actions. Now, hear me this. God has dominion over everything. God has dominion over hurricanes. God has dominion over earthquakes, over fires, over all calamities, over all accidents. God has dominion over everything, including our lives, our children, our families. Except one. There's one that God has no dominion over, and that is that's our free will. Our free will. God will exercise dominion over everything except our own free will. He will not force himself to us. Nor will he force us to do anything whichever way. So, how would you answer God if you hear the question, what is this I hear about you? How would you respond? If another person asks you this, your boss at work asks you, what is this I hear about you? What will your answer be right away? What is it that you hear? Right? What is it that you hear? Guess what? If God asks you that, he didn't even have to ask you that. He knows. He's an all-knowing God. So what will your answer be? What is this? What is this mess you just created? Number 2, a full account. The sacrament of reconciliation. By the thoughtful, prayerful examinations of conscience. That's an opportunity for us to give that account piece by piece. To prepare for the final audit. Are you ready for the final audit? Still? After 3 years in Bible study. Still not ready for the test? You better start reviewing this. Because don't cram, no cramming, but this will be the test. squanderer. To squander is to misuse, to use unwisely, to waste, to be extravagant. What about all the graces that God has given you? Are you squandering the faith God has given you? What about your time? Are you squandering your time for nonsense things? What about your talent? Are you squandering your talent? I've touched this many times over. Time, talent, treasure. Those three T's. What do you do with them? Has God given you time? Oh yeah. Imagine if you're 50 years old. What have you done in these 50 years? In the glory of God? I don't know. What about your time? How much time? How will you use your time? What about your talent? Do you have any talent? I've said this many times. Have you got any talent? Do you use this talent in His glory and honor and praise? You know, the more I study, the more I want to study. That's how I feel now. So maybe when I get ordained, I will study more. Maybe. I want to study more. Of course, there's no other place to go to but the graduate school, the doctorate degree. Because that's how God is. The more you know Him, the more you love Him. That's why, if you are not so open, that desire, if you don't have that much desire to see God, you better look inwards, look at yourself, and make sure you know God. Because knowing God is one thing, and knowing about God is another. You know that? Knowing about God is just knowing about God. But knowing God is truly something. It's just like, do you know someone we haven't? Okay. Do you know Thomas Edison? Huh? Do you know about Thomas Edison? I know. I was in his laboratory. I was in the laboratory. I saw how many patents he has. I saw his inventions and his drawings. So I know about Thomas Edison. But do I really know him? No. I don't know his childhood. I don't know how he grew up. I don't know his family. I don't know him. But I knew about him. So, you see the distinction? Do you know God or do you know about God? Saturday, the indestructible temple. You know, this day, on Saturday is the dedication of St. Lateran Basilica. This is so huge, the church. The only thing is, it's so difficult to pray. I was in St. Peter's. I was at St. John Lateran. It's so difficult to pray. You know why? Because there's so many tourists, so many people walking by, and you see shots after shot. Same thing in St. Patrick's in the city. Have you been to St. Patrick's in there? It's so difficult. I mean, first of all, there's line. There's a cordon where you can go, where you cannot go. And the best spot at St. Patrick's is go to the back, where you can see really pray to the Blessed Sacrament. The back of the altar. Just walk up the steps, all the way up to the end. And then at the back of the altar, there are seats there you can truly pray. The Blessed Sacrament. But in the main church itself, forget it. Because you see people, some of them whispering, some of them talking, some of them taking pictures, some of them are standing. Once I was praying, and somebody stood in front of me like this. So I could see his back. Because they were staring at the top, and it's hard. But you know what? The Catholic Church is what we call the indestructible temple. Do you know that the Catholic Church is the oldest institution in the world? No other institution has lasted so long. It's the oldest institution that has continuously survived and continuously existed since its inception by Jesus Christ in the year 30, all the way up to today, and will continue on until parousia. The Holy Catholic Church will continue until Judgment Day. It will never desist from existence. No way. Why? Because we have that assurance, Matthew 16, from Christ himself. Thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church. Matthew 16. And the gates of hell, the netherworld, can never prevail against it. So we know that the church will continue until Jesus returns. A time we call parousia, the second coming of Jesus Christ.
That's Matthew.
Spelling?
Not you said that was Matthew.
16.
16.
Matthew 16. If you want the story of the creation of the church, 16, 17, and 18. That's for everything, that's the whole. But 16 is when he said that. Purification. I'm on Saturday, by the way. Vigorous reaction serves to underline the high vocation of holiness that God has given the chosen people. Now, what is this? Again, the indestructible temple. We Catholics have inherited that call, yet all too often the ways of the world creep into our souls. When you watch TV now, there's a lot about Christmas now, right? Sprouting now left and right. I'm not sure yet. Has Macy's started putting those Christmas decor? Are they up? Maybe. They're intending to the Black Friday to be moved up even earlier now, because they say they're worried that the shoppers won't have enough time to shop. So keep moving up and up. See, the Black Friday is the Friday after Thanksgiving. I think they want to do it like before Thanksgiving now. That's what they are planning to do. But all of these are of this world. I don't care what you wish for the gift is. It's only of this world. The best gift you can have is Jesus Christ. Not anything. In other words, absolutely nothing will come close. Jesus Christ is the best. It should be first in your heart, in my heart, in everybody's heart. I don't care how obsessed are you with anything. Nothing can take the place of Jesus Christ. Because only Him can give you the peace that you've been longing for. A lot of people, look at that child, 20-year-old, from Teaneck. He stole his brother's gun. He didn't intend to kill anyone. He just wanted to kill himself. He drove to the Garden State Mall. And inside the mall, he started shooting upwards. He didn't hurt anyone. Except that, of course, imagine the stress, imagine the grief. People they were scrambling to get out of the mall, and they were locked in for fear that the shooter might be shooting at random. So some people started hiding in some of the stores. And meanwhile, this poor guy, just went to a secluded area and shot himself to death. Why do these things happen? Because there's no Jesus. These are the people who forgot about God. These are the people who have no desire to see God. Zacchaeus, who was a big-time sinner, his own people would despise him. Had that desire, first curiosity and then the desire to see God. And he did. God saw him. If only people will hear this teaching, maybe less people would do what that guy did. How many shootings do we have? In Lodi, I think that was Tuesday. This last Tuesday, there was an anonymous call in the high school that there was a, what was the call about? Oh, yeah, that there's a guy in the school with a gun. That was the anonymous call. So what they did is they locked in all the students inside for some hours and verified and checked and searched through all the entire buildings and then found nothing. This is the world we live in. The reason? Because God has been pushed to the side. God has been pushed to the side, and we have our earthly things that are way up the most prominent places. Right up front. Right. What do we teach our kids? Oh, Christmas is about gifts. It's not true. Number one, Jesus was not born on Christmas Day. I said that before. Jesus was actually born either, at first they were saying April or May. April or May. Because of the surrounding, the circumstances surrounding the birth. Next Sunday is the resurrection of the dead. I gave you the story. I always start with last Sunday and next Sunday. So you see on the last page, the Sadducees argue against. So the Sadducees make the law and belief in resurrection look ridiculous. And the source of the problem, I gave it to you in the board notes. And God is God of the living, not of the dead. Hope in the bodily resurrection of the dead establishes itself as a consequence. You know, have you heard that many times? Oh, God is God of the living, not of the dead. If there's no resurrection, what will happen to God? All his believers are dead. Right? So what will happen to God? You mean everybody in heaven, they're all dead? It can't be. So it doesn't take a lot of intelligence to grasp that. God, our God, is God of the living, not of the dead. You know, this reminds me, we had a visitor not too long ago in our house. And she's now dead. And she was murdered. She was killed. Yeah. It was a crime. There was a crime. And see what happens is when you fight a criminal with a gun, they're ready to kill. They have no soul, right, so to speak. They have no conscience. Their hearts have been hardened. They don't mind killing. And he shot her, point blank. And she's not dead. Her viewing is tomorrow. Yeah. It just happened, today's what, Thursday? Yesterday. It happened yesterday. So God of the living, faith in the resurrection rests on faith in God. Really. And then our Bible study materials, the small letters. We are saving on paper. Just got to, remember you have to read this promise. Inspiring article. You see it? Inspiring article. see the editor's note. You see that? Look at his resume here. He has a doctorate in theology from the Angelical University in Rome. Pope Benedict appointed Ralph as a consultor to the Pontifical Council for the New Evangelization. He's just a layman. You please read this, okay? You know, it's good to read from very intelligent, bright people. That's what I do. I'm not bright. I'm not, by any means, I'm not bright. But I want to read what the bright people say and read and say and write about. Especially the doctors of the church, the saints. My favorite, John Chrysostom. John knows that. You see here, he quotes Saint Catherine of Siena, Saint John of the Cross, Saint Ignatius of Loyola. These are doctors of the church. Look at the funny story. The end is near. Did you read that? When I email to you, do you read the attachments? Maybe I should stop emailing. Look, a local priest and a pastor were fishing on the side of the road. They thoughtfully made a sign saying, "The end is near. Turn yourself around now before it's too late." That's what the sign says. And showed it to each passing car. So one driver who drove by didn't appreciate it. "Leave us alone, you religious nuts." All of a sudden, they heard a big splash. Look at each other. And the priest said to the pastor, "I think maybe we should have just said, reach out instead." Instead of saying the end is near. And the lesson is the end is indeed near. You better repent. Quote for this week from Pope Benedict XVI. "Believing is nothing other than, in the darkness of the world, touching the hand of God, and in this way, in silence, hearing the word and seeing love." It's so profound. I love that. Lesson: God speaks in our silence. And this week, I'm beginning a new series on apologetics. This comes in two parts. One this week, and the second part is next week. This is from Dr. Peter Krief. Dr. Peter Krief is another convert. He was a Protestant minister. He's now a Catholic apologist. I love these Protestants. They're big leaders becoming Catholics, and who are left in the Protestant church. The small poems, because the real intelligentsia in the Protestant world, they all became Catholics. You know why? That's what I said to. There was one Catholic who is now a pastor of his own church. I spoke to him. I told him, "You know what? You need to come home." "What are you doing here? You need to come home." Oh, no. The church is this, and he started bad mouthing the church. You know, I told him, the church is made up of sinners.